So when a person delves into the Torah and realizes that this holy Torah has to become their life. You have to work, you have to be married, you have to have kids, all those other stuff. Life exists. But the foundation that's going to be the manual of how you operate all of those things is always going to be the Torah. When a person does that, nothing can move them. Now, if a person is going to wait to understand everything before they do it, then they can already know and be assured they're never going to get to that point. Why? Because the biggest distinguishing factor from the Torah to everything else that's out there is the spiritual feel that you get. Now, there was a guy, there was an intellectual, that knew that there is truth to the Torah and said, you know what, I'm willing to do TeShuva and start keeping the mitzvot that I understand. And of course, the rabbis welcomed him and they were happy to accept him. And he came to the Bet Midrash and he started learning. And he's learning Chumash and he's learning Bereshit and he's Noach and Lech Lecha and so on. He's learning different parts of the Torah. And after a little while, they ask him, listen, we're glad to have you here. Why don't you join us for prayer? When is prayer? Oh, we have prayer in the morning. It's called Shachrit. We also have prayer in the afternoon. It's called Mincha. Usually right after we have Arvit. So sure. So he prayed in the afternoon with them, at night with them. Everything was fine. He read from the book, the Siddur. It's great. He's like, all right, I'll see you tomorrow. So next morning he came. And he sees something strange. Everybody there. It's early in the morning. But everybody, instead of doing what they did last night, which is just read from the book, everyone has this talit, and they're putting on Tefillin. These little boxes with straps on them. In English, they call it phylacteries. Now, he has seen Tefillin before. He knows what Tefillin are as far as, it's not like completely ignoramus. But he just didn't get it. Why? Like everybody was very focused, and even when he tried to talk to somebody, they couldn't talk back. So he went on his way. Somebody offered him the tefillin. He said, no, thank you. And of course, no one's going to make a big deal out of it yet. But after everything was finished, the rabbi came to him and said, listen, now that you're learning with us, pray with us, why don't you put on tefillin? He's like, why should I? Well, it's a mitzvah. Well, great, it's a mitzvah, but there's a lot of mitzvot. I heard, there's hundreds of mitzvot. Well, maybe I don't need this one. Especially since you're saying it costs so much money, I don't see the need. He's like, no, you have to do it. Whoa, have to? You didn't tell me anything, have to. Why? Why do I have to? He says, because this is one of the covenants. Okay, well, there's other covenants. There's a covenant of Brit Milah. I have that one. Even though I didn't ask for it, my parents did it for me. Yeah, but there's a different covenant. There's also a covenant of Tefillin. And he just simply doesn't get it. They try to explain it to him, and Moshe Rabbeinu said it, and it's in Shema Yisrael, and HaShem said it, and he just doesn't get it. And after they see that he's not getting it, they take him to one of the Gedolei Ador, Rav Avramski. Rav Yechezkel Avramski, he's a giant, and they bring him to him, and they tell him, listen, this young man, he's an intellectual, he's a very smart guy, and he simply doesn't want to put on tefillin. And Avramski asks him, why don't you want to put on tefillin? He says, it's not that I don't want to, it's that I'm just not going to do it until I understand why. Why do I need to do it? So Avramski says to him, okay, I can explain to you why to put on tefillin in accordance to sources from the Torah, why to do it based on the teachings of the Midrash, why to do it based on the teachings of the mystical teachings of Kabbalah, the Zohar HaKadosh, why to do it according to Halacha. I could teach you why to do it according to your health, according to psychology, according to literally every body of teachings you can imagine. I can give you reasons of why to put on tefillin. So the guy's excited. He said, but before I do that, I want you to do something for me. Put on tefillin for 30 days. without any reason. After you put it on for 30 days, you come back to me and I'll sit with you for as long as you want to cover all of those subjects if you want, or as many of them as you need. Deal? The guy says, yeah, that's reasonable enough. And that was the deal. They shook on it. I'll see you in a month. A month passes by. The guy's putting on Tefillin. And a month passes by. And Rav Yechezkel Avramski remembers. Chachamim don't just make empty deals. A month passes and the guy doesn't come. 2 months. 3 months. 4 months. Almost 5 months pass. And the guy shows up. As soon as he comes in, Rav Avramski says to him, no, where are you? I've been waiting for you. Why, you don't want to learn? Now, finally? He says, no, Kvod Rav. Believe me. It had nothing to do with that. After 3 days of putting on tefillin, I got the point. I got it. On my own flesh and blood, I got it. I didn't have any questions anymore. I didn't have any questions. There was no point of meeting after a month. 3 days after it's on my body, I already knew. Sometimes a person will delve into different things from the world he's familiar with, but apply that to the world of Torah. Oh, I'm only going to keep this once I understand it. I'm only going to keep this once I'm ready. They don't realize that no one ever loses by following HaShem and His holy Torah. And if you follow HaShem blindly and simply do what He says, you end up being the biggest winner. Why do you think Noach is specifically mentioned in the Torah that Noach ish tzaddik tamim bedorotav? Noach is the man that was righteous and complete with Hashem in his generation. Now he could say, Noach was tzaddik. Noach was tall and handsome. Noach was very smart, which he was. He invented the plow. He built the ark. He was a genius. But it didn't mention that he was smart. It didn't mention that he was tall and handsome. It didn't mention that he was rich. It didn't mention that he had 3 unique sons. It didn't mention that he had he was the first one to ever have fingers. Before that, there was only like one thumb, and this was the finger. That's how it was. This is why as soon as Noach was born, the verse says that, this one is going to bring ease upon us. He's going to make the work easier. Number one, it's mentioning that Noach invented the plow, but also because Noach was born with fingers. But that's only mentioned behind the scenes, the explanation to that verse. Why didn't it say that Noach was born with fingers literally, or Noach was very smart, or he was rich, or this, or why? Why? Because the Torah mentions the most critical points, the points you can learn from, the points that you can do. Noach ish tzaddik tamim bedorotav. Noach was righteous, but not just because Hashem decided he's righteous. No, there was no favoritism here. He's righteous because he's tamim. He was complete with Hashem. He didn't have to understand everything in order to do it. Hashem said it, I'm doing it. And even before Hashem spoke to him, he did the word of Hashem. He did what he knew. What was transferred from generation to generation, the 10 generations between Adam HaRishon to Noach, there was the law, the 6 Noahide laws. There were 7 Noahide laws. The 7th one was given to Noach. The first 6 were in the world. Noach knew them. Noach followed them. He didn't have to, it makes sense, it doesn't make sense, am I going to benefit, not benefit? No, there was no need. And in fact, there was no punishment yet. Because the world at that time, the Midrash says, in the Gemara also in the Masechet Sanhedrin, says that the world was literally similar to heaven. The weather was always perfect. Everyone was financially well off. Everything was great. So it's not like Noach saw that there was a lot of punishment everywhere, and this guy got cancer, and that guy has AIDS, and this one just got divorced, and all these problems that you see in the world today, so maybe I should be good so the problems don't come to me. No, there wasn't any of that. The world was amazing. But yet Noach was ish tzaddik tamim. He still followed. So the more important part of Noach's life wasn't his wealth or inventions or everything else, but rather the fact that he was complete with Hashem, something that we too can emulate. When a person is constantly waiting to understand everything in the Torah, before they do it, what they're doing is they're killing the Torah. Because they're eliminating the ability of the Torah to literally bring life into your world. Because you're waiting for the Torah to prove itself to you. And then you'll understand it. Or you're simply delaying until you get to studying it and realizing it, and you may never ever get there. Not even because of the issues of time, but because the Torah doesn't simply unveil itself to anybody that just simply reads it. 2 people could read, or 100 people could read the same thing as the Rav is reading, and guess what? Only the Rav understands what he's reading. Everyone else could be getting a mistake. Why? Because he has refined his soul in such a fashion that the Torah is willing to unveil itself to him and not to the other 100 people. How did he refine himself? By perfecting his character traits. So here the Chazon Ish is telling us that if a person wants to perfect their character traits, they have to wage war on each and every one of these character trait flaws and understand that there's a specific cure for the tendencies towards all types of lustful desires.